From the national newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris made their final pushes late into the night. It is U.S. Election Day today, and the top presidential candidates have wrapped up an unprecedented race that has already seen more than 80 million ballots cast.
Hello, beautiful, beautiful North Carolina.
Oh, it's good to be back in Pennsylvania.
They focused on the battlegrounds, some of the 7 states that'll essentially decide this election.
It's ours to lose.
Momentum is on our side.
Trump would become the first person convicted of a felony to win the White House.
4 years we've all waited for this.
Harris, the first woman, the first black woman, the first person of South Asian descent.
America is ready for a fresh start.
And an end to a race that's seen a felony trial, an incumbent president pushed off the ballot, and 2 assassination attempts. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Following a tumultuous campaign that saw assassination attempts and a reconfiguration of the Democratic ticket, Americans will cast ballots today for president and on a path the U.S. will take going forward.
The United States is Canada's closest neighbor and largest trading partner. No matter the outcome of the election, there will be impacts on that relationship. Kirsten Hillman, Canada's ambassador to the U.S., says it's critical to show whoever prevails how important the Canada-U.S. relationship is.
When we seek to engage with the new administration, we have to bring those to the table.
Donald Trump has proposed a 10% across-the-board tariff and has been critical of both NATO and the aid to Ukraine. Vice President Kamala Harris has campaigned on the fact that she voted against the Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement. Kelly Malone, The Canadian Press, Washington.
British Columbia ports are under lockout, and it has sparked concern from some of Canada's business leaders.
Some groups like Fertilizer Canada think the federal government should legislate changes and force port operations to continue during strikes or lockouts. The group says Canada is again losing access to a critical trade corridor after a countrywide rail stoppage over the summer. Meanwhile, Alberta's Premier and Transportation Minister are calling for the federal government to step in with binding arbitration. They say the BC ports export about $50 million worth of Alberta commodities per day. Jason White, The Canadian Press.
A crippling strike by 33,000 Boeing factory workers is coming to an end. Union machinists voted yesterday to accept the company's latest contract offer, which includes a 38% pay raise over 4 years. Workers could start returning to work as early as tomorrow morning. Former fashion mogul Peter Nygard will ask an Ontario court today to review a decision to deny him bail as he appeals his 4 sexual assault convictions and his sentence. His lawyers will argue before the Court of Appeal for Ontario that the motions judge made several errors in dismissing the 83-year-old's bail application last month. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Monday night NFL football saw the Kansas City Chiefs rack up their record to 8-0 this season. Patrick Mahomes threw for 291 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Kareem Hunt pounded into the end zone from 2 yards out in overtime to give the unbeaten Kansas City Chiefs a 30-24 win over the visiting Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just 2 games in the NHL last night. The winning streak ends at 2 for the Edmonton Oilers, who lost 3-0 to New Jersey, and it was the Los Angeles Kings blanking Nashville 3-0. And in basketball, the Toronto Raptors opened their 5-game road trip last night with a 121-119 loss to the Denver Nuggets. Jalen Williams scored 23 points. Canadian Shai Gilgeous-Alexander added 21, and the Oklahoma City Thunder beat the Orlando Magic Monday to remain the only unbeaten team in the NBA's Western Conference. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.